Hello, students, and good morning. This is a continuation of our lesson, which is designing graphical interfaces. Today, we will be trying out creating multiple interfaces involving 6 frames in which we are going to design a simple personal messaging app or IM app, for example. So, today, I would like you to prepare your Android Studio. We will be creating a project in which you are going to create it or call it IM app. So, let's start from the beginning. First, go to the file, then new project. We're going to name it your last name underscore IM or instant messaging app. Again, last name underscore IM app. Now, before we proceed, there are some people who are currently having lots of mistakes just from the configuration of the project. Make sure that the language is Java because there are two languages used in Android Studio, Java and Kotlin. So make sure that the language is Java, and also the minimum SDK should reflect on the phone that you are currently using or emulating. If you do not have a phone, make sure that the API is currently set to 26. Now click Finish. So after loading for a bit, it's going to show you this screen, right? I think we have already oriented ourselves in creating a simple user interface, especially when you already created your own calculator design. So today, we will be creating multiple activities with multiple XML designs. So, using this as a reference, today we will be creating a register screen, the main chatting screen, as well as the gallery. So, if you have your pictures prepared, we will be using the register as our first screen for today. So, we need to create 6 activities for this. So, I would like you to go here, then right-click this folder. Make sure that the folder above Java is one you are going to click. Right-click, then New Empty Activity. So, go to Activity, then Empty Activity. If you have any questions, you may do so in our chat, or you may raise your hand if you are going to use voice. So, for this, now that we are creating a new activity, we could name it according to the screens. So for this, we are going to name it register. Register screen. So click Finish. We are going to create we can rename the main activity as main screen. So to rename a file, take note, you do not have to actually, it's not as easy as renaming the file itself. You need to refactor the file. Refactoring involves scanning the whole project for instances in which the project is or a project name is being used. This is very useful when you are going to delete a file and avoid breaking the whole project or renaming something which will be causing a whole lot of problems for you. So if you are going to rename a file, right click the file, refactor, then rename. This applies for copying a file, deleting a file. There's even a safe delete option here. Safe delete allows you to delete a file without actually breaking the project. So, for now, we are going to use rename. So, we're going to rename this as main screen. So, the changes didn't show up yet. If you want it to show up immediately, just go to File, then Sync Project with Gradle Files. So, as you can see, it has already changed. Now, we are going to create the other panels now. So, I'm going to create the gallery. So, empty activity, gallery, screen. If you have already created, um, you may commit your changes to your project. It's easy as committing your changes to the project. If you have already made some changes to your, if you have already made something according to our project, no? So you'll just have to commit. You'll just have to push any changes that you have. So now we have gallery, main screen, and register screen. Now we are going to create 3 more screens. The splash screen, activity, then name it splash screen. Splash screen. And the login screen. And lastly, the PM screen. Oops, I think I made the incorrect one. New activity, empty activity, then name it PM screen. Now that you have uh, multiple frames or activities here, you may close the other tabs if you are not intending to use. For example, the Javas or the codes. For now, I don't think we are going to need it. We can keep this XML as our activity screens. So, I want you to keep these screens. If you are going to access the screen that we are actually making use of, just go to the rest, then it should show up here in the layout. So what is missing? Register, gallery, login, PM screen. Register, login, the main. So it is missing main and the splash. So we're going to create for now a register screen. So I think you're already oriented with this, right? There is an option for it to show to you the actual look of your application and how it would look like behind the design. There is a blueprint option and a design option. If you think everything that you have put so far in your application is very cluttered, you may do so design in the blueprint option. It also presents you the option of seeing both perspectives in order for you to create an efficient design. So for now, let's stick with the blueprint option. we are going to create a register screen, which involves a lot of um, forms, which will involve a lot of text forms. So for now, we will be making use of the text view as our labels. So for example, we are going to put a uh, register message here. Constrain it with the screen, then drag it a bit. Then we can change it in the attributes. The text one can change it to register. So now we have a register message. Next one, we are going to use labels. So we can have labels in which they are going to be used in order to orient the users in where to type such. So we can drag a couple more. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this would be enough. So let's just drag it right there. Maybe let's type uh, name, first name. This one will be last name. This one will be your uh, email address. Password, and confirm password. So now that we have the labels in place, we can start arranging them preliminarily so that it will show up, or it will give us how it should look. So there is an option, guys, for you to allow you to uh, that will allow you in order to manipulate it or constrain it by batch. For example, I'm going to select all the labels. Then, what I'm going to do is right-click on one of them, then chains, then create a vertical chain. Now, it tries to realign itself. As you might have noticed, it is not actually aligned. There, we will be using the horizontal constraint to make them align with each other. So, we're going to align it with each other. So, there might be questions from you that might have arise, no? So, sir, how is this different from the um, normal manual, they call this, constraint? So, chains allows us to um, constrain multiple UI elements to the screen so that they will automatically adjust whatever the screen size or dimension is. So, for example, this is a screen orientation of a usual phone, right? But what if you are going to use your app for a tablet? For example, a wider tablet. As you can see, they are still perfectly aligned. So that is the purpose of the chains. It allows you to manipulate the elements in a way that it won't actually mess up its design. So, sir, can I use a chain for a single UI element? No. Because when you constrain it to the sides of a screen, it actually auto adjusts. So it serves the same purpose as chains. If you have any questions, just type it in the chat, okay? Now, we are going to use the text forms that where the people are going to fill up. Now, let's go to text. We are going to add now uh, the different forms of text that we are going to use to fill up. So our first name and last name, we are going to use plain text. So let's add plain text here, plain text for here. Then uh, maybe uh, let's see, maybe we can readjust it a bit, make it a bit wider. Let's make it 300 dp. Okay. Then another plain text. Make it 300 dp as well. 42 by 42 dp by 300 dp. Okay. Now, for the email address, we may use the email field. So there's an email field. 300 dp by 42 dp. It's up to you the values. You can manipulate the values according to your needs. It doesn't have to follow the values that I am using. You can even change the font size. We will be discussing about it later. Now for the password. It's important that you use the password field. 400 at 300 dp and 42 dp. And another password. We may just copy paste this. Okay, I think this satisfies us our um how we intend our login screen to look like, right? Or rather our register screen. So now um we will just align them with the so that they will be perfectly aligned. Then select every. Then let's try using chains for it. Let's see if it actually breaks the orientation. Then create a vertical chain. Let's try. Let me drag. So let's clear the constraints, or rather, let's just Control Z. Okay. What? Wait. Okay. So I don't think chains is appropriate for this, but as you can see, chains is somewhat situational. So take note of that. So now we are going to bind its height here. Let's create a simple UI, which now let's auto adjust this according if we are using a tablet. Decent enough, right? So let's go back to phone orientation. Now it should look like this. As you can see, it is a very clean surface that we are going for, right? Going back to the side, then we are going to add a button for the register, of course. Let's see. Let's make this panel a bit tighter because I think it is somewhat wide. We can actually make this chains a bit tighter. Let me select chains. Now, where's the chain tightening? Uh, we're going to tighten it a bit. Way too tight. Wait. Okay, it actually broke the design. Well, it's up to you how you're going to make everything chained. So, I think we will settle this for now. Then we are going to add a button as a confirmation for the registration. So, I think we are going to constrain this uh, here and here. Then, connect it with. Okay, I think it's already connected. Okay. We are going to name this register, or rather, add the text as a register. Now, I think this should look sufficient enough for our registration screen, right? Sir, how are we going to change the text sizes? So if you go here, there are two options. We are going to adjust the register message for this. Sir, how do we change the text size? There are two options in order for you to change the text size. Wait. Let me fix it a bit. There. Yeah. So, there are two options in order for us to change the text size. If you go to attributes, this is the first one. If you go to the attributes, then go to all attributes. There should be a text size. Let's see. Text size. Text size. So, I'm having a hard time looking for the text size. So, let's proceed with the code instead. We can use the split screen option in order for us to code directly. So, go to the register, click register, and it will highlight here. For example, you're going to edit the first name, it will highlight the element that you are going to edit. So, let's click register. Then the register is highlighted. Now, we're going to add a piece of code. Just hit enter here. It should provide us a space in order for us to add a code. And let's type Android text size. Then, you can have any size that you want. So, for text, it is ideal that we use, for example, 20 SP. SP is the unit most commonly used for text. DP is usually used for the dimensions. So, kindly avoid using pixels or inches or centimeters as units of measurement for text. So now I think we have a decent looking registration form, right? So let's proceed with the next one. Let's go for a gallery. So now we have a gallery screen. Gallery usually is a collection of pictures that you are going to use for your uh, chatting experience. Uh, Similar to attach. It usually opens a mini gallery in order for you to choose what pictures you are going to share to your friend. So I think there's still some changes that need to be addressed, right? So for now, you can change it to, let's go back to the top. There is a text. We can adjust it. First name, last name, and email. Where's the text? We can add it in the code instead. There's the email address. Email address. Okay, here. Android. Let's type Android. Then text. Then email address at mcm.edu.ph. Okay, I think that's sufficient enough. Then for password, you may also type a sample password. It will not show up, I swear. So just type Android text, then let's say password. It will censor whatever text you're typing. Then another one, Android. Wait, where's the other one? Okay, here. Android text is equals to password. I think the instructions are clear enough. I think we're sufficient to go to the gallery screen. So now we are going to make use of the uh, chains in order to make everything in our gallery app a bit more easier for you to craft. So now let's add our pictures. I have collected multiple pictures here we're going to use for our app. So let's drag them all. Here at the drawable folder. Put it here in the drawable folder, then refactor. So now it should add all the pictures here. As you notice, there will be a red outline here. It means that the pictures doesn't conform with the file naming structure. So you need to rename this. For example, flood hazard white. What's the error? You can change or refactor the name to something simpler like hazard white. Hazard. Okay. The error has been addressed. Then for here, and again refactor tax up with name refactor rename tax. Factor. So now we don't have any errors, right? You can see that there are no more red outlines here. We can proceed or go back to uh, our gallery screen. Actually closed all the other screens, right? Now, let's just add image view here. Then, let's put all the pictures. Then, as you might have noticed, it is a bit too big. We can adjust it. So, maybe we can put, let's see, maybe 50 by 50, 50 dp by 50 dp. If it is a bit too small for your taste, you can adjust it according to your wants. So maybe let's put it instead as 150 dp. So It's a bit too big. Let's try going for 75. Or rather, 100 instead. Now, it should be a perfect fit, right? You can just copy paste this. One more. Okay. Now we have a multiple picture frame pictures you can use for our gallery. Sir, what's the point of having multiple pictures if it's actually the same picture? I will show you how to change the picture content later. So, let's just add the pictures. These are just placeholder pictures for the time being. Now, I think this is a sufficient amount of pictures. Now, let's go back to blueprint. Now, we're going to constrain it. As you might have noticed, this is way too many for manual constraints. So, again, we are going to use chains. For now, we are going to proceed with vertical chains. So, again, select a row that you're going to chain. Then, go to chains, then vertical chain. Okay, it readjusted itself. Then, this one, chains, vertical chain. Then, this one, vertical chains. Now that it is chained to the screen, it will, depending on the screen size, it will actually auto-adjust. So, as you can see, it is not adjusted to the width, right? Because we didn't have any chains for the width. So now we are going to chain it according to its width. So now select it via its horizontal rows. So I will going to select this three. Then create horizontal chain. Horizontal chain. This is a simple way of actually creating a constraint, right? But this is only doable if um, the format, or rather the set of uh, the set of UI elements is actually similar. So now we already have a complete UI. Let's see. So it's really automatically adjusted. Let's test it with the tablet again. As you might have noticed, it actually adjusted itself according to the width of the screen. So whether you are going to orient the screen in a portrait or a landscape position, it actually uh, will auto-adjust. Now, as you might have noticed, the picture is actually the same. So, for visibility sake, we're going to use the design. Just click this one, then you can choose whatever picture you are going to go for. Then, okay. Now you can easily change whatever picture that you want to. Let's go back to this orientation. Now you have a simple looking gallery here. that you could design according to your uh, liking. So now we have a simple looking gallery, right? We're going to add the labels now. So sir, why didn't we add the labels a bit earlier? If we added the labels here, it will be uh, interlinked in the chain, meaning that it will destroy uh, the actual orientation of our screen. We can also we can also make it that make it so that the chain only affects a certain or a portion of the area. So let's go back here. Let's try removing all the constraints. You can do so easily by clicking this. So now we have removed the chains. Let's try adding a label. For example, here, constraining sides and naming it gallery. Then adjusting the size of the text. Where's the text? Adjusting it to Android text size to 20 sp. I think this is enough size. Now going back to design, we can just chain this row horizontally. You can chain this row horizontally, then or rather vertically, chain vertically. So now the size will depend, or rather the height will depend on the uh, one here. So wait. Let's try chaining them all. Chain vertically. So it actually destroyed everything, right? So you can't actually batch everything as a chain. So now we are just going to chain this the middle row because it is directly affected by the gallery label. So only just the middle row. Um, as a last precaution, let's add. Let me cramp this up a bit. Let's add the button in order for us to attach. So let's create the button. Then let's name it attach. Attach. Let's make this everything a bit more cramped. It doesn't need to actually be beautifully arranged because it can auto-arrange itself later. So let's constrain it to the right, then to the left, then so now that it is constrained, we are going to select the middle part or the middle row, then create a vertical chain. Now we can use this vertical chain to connect itself, or rather what do you call this? Use this to orient our vertical position. Don't use this to orient our vertical position. Sir, what's the purpose of teaching us chains if we're not going to use it? We're going to use the horizontal chain instead for the others. We are going to manually chain this so that they will automatically align still regardless. Now we are going to go for horizontal chains per row. Horizontal chains, horizontal chains, every row, horizontal chain. Now we are going to test this on a tablet. Let's see how it would look like. Let's go for a tablet. Now it is beautifully done. I think there's a misalignment here a bit. So that's how you are going to design your gallery. Still no questions? No questions from the students. So I'm going to proceed now with our last screen, which is the main screen. Questions? Somebody opened his mic. Any questions from the students? Okay. Now let's proceed with the main screen. Let's proceed with the main screen. Or why did I open this? Main screen. Activity main. So now, wait a bit. Let me fix the audio a bit. Because I'm hearing cracking noises. Okay. Now, we're going to go for the main screen design. It is a bit simple. You can actually execute this using a chains. So now, using the same pictures that we have uploaded from before, let's add image views. So let's try this icon. Then maybe what's the size earlier? Maybe let's go for 100 dp. It's a bit too small. Maybe 140. Better. So let's remove hello world here for a bit. Now you can sort of add some elements here and there. For here, we will go into some friends or friends, something like that. Now we have a label of friends. Constrain it to the mid, to the each side, and horizontally. Then again, let's go to the code and add the code for the text size. Android text size equals to 20 sp. Go back to the side. Should be a bit bigger. Okay. Okay. So that's why. I think this is a bit big. You can customize the sizes of everything according to your wants and needs, right? Okay. It's not actually doesn't have to be following or conforming what I'm going for. So now, let's just copy paste it to you can increase the number of chats. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then another text here and another text here. So this should be uh, chat name friend friend one. Then a filler text, for example, Lauren Gibson Lor Sit. We can constrain. Let's go for a chains here. Chain. Then vertical chains. I think we're having a problem. Let's see. Let's move this a bit. Then let's include friends in the chain. So chains, vertical chain. Now we can move it back here. Very nice. Then we can chain. Let's see. Now we are going to chain it horizontally. Horizontal. Where's the horizontal chain? Okay. Horizontal chain. Guys, there's one thing to note in chaining. Horizontal chains would allow you to move it back again. I will sample it later. If you notice that it will lock up, it means that by chaining it, it will not move anymore. You cannot reposition it. So, because, for example, this, you can't actually drag this anymore because it is locked by the chain. So, take note of that. If you're going for a more customized experience uh, for your UI. Now, let's remove this constraint first. Let's copy paste it and drag more like this. Now we can constrain its vertical height to the image view. Sir, um, I think the friends is not yet aligned. It's okay. If you're going to ask about it, it's still fine. The constraints to the image is to make sure that to make sure that it is aligned. So I'm going to remove the friends again. Maybe edit the text size a bit so that let's go for the code. Here's the code. Split friend. Then let's adjust its text size to Android text size to maybe a little bit bigger, but not as big as the uh, front text. Let's see its design. Friend. Hmm, I didn't notice any change. Maybe make this 20 sp. and this one as 25. Okay, a little bit better. Android. We can also manipulate the text that in order to make it bold or italic. So, what you're going to type is Android text style, then we can type it italic. If you are going to incorporate more effects, then just add this, then bold. So you notice it is both bold and italic. So now we can go back to our design. Go for the blueprint then. As it is connected, let me remove the constraints first so that we can copy paste it. Make sure that what you are copy pasting has its constraints removed so that you won't have any problems rearranging it again. So now constrain its vertical height to the image. Then constrain its horizontal height to the chat. Constrain it here so that both will be aligned. And now let's test it if it actually is content aware. Now let's try testing it with uh, a tablet. As you might notice, it actually is auto-adjusting itself. So I guess this is good enough for our design. Now, before we wrap up our class, I will teach you how you are going to test uh, the frames, each frame. So now, go to the manifests folder, then it will actually show up this Android manifest.xml. Double click it so that it shows up its code. As you might have noticed, if you run this at its current screen, it will only run the main screen. So I want you to copy this intent filter, copy the from line 18 to line 22. If it's the same with you, intent filter, then go to each of these activities. As you notice, there are activities here. For example, this PMS screen. Let's add the code here for the intent filter. Sir, I noticed that Android login screen, splash screen, gallery screen, and registry screen doesn't have a closer. This is a closer. It is a partner with this one. So, you can create a closer by first removing the slashes, then adding an activity closer. As you might have noticed, it actually auto-generates. So, just close, remove this one, and okay. Now, let's insert the code here. Insert the code here. Kuaton, do you have a question? Intent filter. Ano yun? From intent filter starting to the closer of intent filter. Now that we have copied intent filter in each activities, go to the app just beside your phone or emulator or AVD manager. Then select edit configurations. After selecting edit configurations, you will be greeted with the launch options. So in launch options, click specified activity. Then you can select which activity you are going to run. For example, let's demonstrate the gallery screen. So let's click gallery screen. Okay. I have a warning though. It creates its own APK in your phone. It means that if you're going to try the 6 activities in your phone, it will create 6 APKs on your phone. We haven't done the programming yet to make it so that it is a single APK. So if it creates 6 APKs in your phone, then it's totally normal. You may remove it after validating everything is correct. So click OK. Then we can run now. So this is the phone. It should show up here. What happened? Okay. So this is our gallery. As you might notice, it is a basic gallery. So now we are going to test another one. Let's go back to edit configuration, then select another activity. Maybe the main screen. Click main screen. Okay, then run again. So that's how it should look like.